Well, hello, dear students. For the next few minutes, we're going to talk about short-term memory and some special facts in regard to it. You'll remember that in the three-stage model of memory, there's sensory memory that lasts for a fraction of a second. The things that you pay attention to move into short-term memory, and things that you encode then will move into long-term memory. But back to short-term memory. First off, once something's moved into short-term memory, unless you encode it to move it into long-term memory, after about 30 seconds, you'll lose it, you'll forget it. We've all had the experience of meeting somebody new, finding out their name, chatting with them, and 30 seconds later, we've forgotten their name. Happens all the time. We fail to encode it. If we had worked a little bit harder with that name, associated with something that we already knew, well then, we would have gotten it into long-term memory and have remembered it. So 30 seconds is about how long that we can remember something new. Here's that figure from another video that shows where encoding takes place, in between short-term and long-term memory. But talking about short-term memory, something else that's true is that it can only hold about 7 items, plus or minus 2. You go beyond that number, you forget the stuff very quickly. It is possible to remember more than 7 items, though, even more than 9, if we use something called chunking. Chunking often occurs spontaneously, but let's talk about it now and what chunking really is. Now, chunking can be deliberate, but oftentimes it just happens spontaneously. That's because we get used to certain things all going together. For example, right now I'm going to say some numbers for you. And I bet you anything that you can probably remember all of them. So I just need to take a look at something here. And here we go. So here are the numbers that I would like for you to remember. 7, 132, 818, 323, 46. That's 12 numbers. But because I'm a good guy, I'm going to show them to you or read them to you again. 7, 132, 818, 323, 46. Are you struggling with that? Well, now I'm going to put a slide up, and let's take a look at those numbers in written form. Yes, here they are again, organized as chunks. 713, 281, 832, and 346. If you lived in Houston any period of time, you'll recognize those as area codes. But each set of those, such as 713, is really a chunk. We've gotten used to them. At least you have if you've lived in Houston for a while. So it's not really 12 numbers, it's 4 chunks. No, you probably did not set out to learn those as chunks, but in the process of living in Houston, they naturally became chunks. In fact, to some degree, the whole business of you getting an education is the business of sticking chunks into long-term memory. Here's one closing point about short-term memory. The purpose of short-term memory is consciousness. In fact, that's what most people would call this in daily life. So, short-term memory purpose is consciousness. We can hold items there for about 30 seconds unless we encode them. If we don't encode them, we lose them, we forget them. And we can only hold about 7 items in our short-term memory, plus or minus 2, unless we engage in chunking, which, thank goodness, sometimes we do. Till later. Bye now.